Welcome to the Spiritual and Cosmic Podcast with Lady D, the podcast where the mystical meets every day. I'm your host, Lady D, psychic, medium, astrologer, spiritual guide, and cosmic truth teller. Each week we'll dive into real talk about living in a spiritual life in a human world. The good, the bad, the beautiful, the messy, and in between. From psychic insights, astrology breakdowns, to soulful chats and cosmic truths. This is your sacred space to awaken, expand, and keep it 100% real. So grab your crystals, open your heart, and let's get spiritual and cosmic. Welcome to Spiritual and Cosmic with Lady D, where we explore the world of spirit, intuition, and psychic development. I'm Lady D, and in today's episode, I'm taking you behind the scenes of a mediumship workshop that I attended last week. If you've ever been curious about mediumship, what's it like, how it feels, or how to start connecting with spirit, this episode is for you. I'll share personal experiences, key insight, and tips that you can use in your own spiritual journey. So last week I attended a mediumship workshop. It was over 2 days. So it was on a Friday and Saturday down in Melbourne. So with a medium from the UK. I really enjoyed. I went to his mediumship when he came here last time, about 3 years ago. So that was a 3-day one in Canberra. So when I saw that he was coming back into Melbourne or Melbourne and Perth, I had the choice of either flying to Perth, which is going to be more expensive, or driving down to Melbourne. I chose the cheaper option and went to Melbourne. I don't like the cold, so I'm not really a fan of Melbourne because the weather, I find that people are a bit different as well. So I'm kind of a creature of habit being in Sydney, and I tend to like the sun, so I like going to Queensland. So anyway, we went last week. So I really wanted to explore mediumship deeper. I'm really looking to deepen my mediumship. That's part of the reason why I went, because this medium, he can get dates and he's very entertaining as well. So when you go to his workshop, not only like are you learning or going through his experiences with spirit, but he's also entertaining and he's also very nurturing as well. He's also very kind. And he's someone that I just feel like the details that he gets is really great. So that's why I went. When I went there, anything that I go to these things, I always get nervous. I always get a lot of anxiety. And I did. It was held at a spiritualist church in Melbourne. And it was actually quite a large building. And I did get nervous, as I just said I do. I always get nervous meeting new people or being around places that I haven't been before or people that I don't know. So luckily I came down with 2 lovely ladies, my friends, joined me for the road trip and we stayed together. So that was all right. But I knew once we sort of went into the workshop, like there was no chairs, like 3 chairs that were together. So I knew that we would kind of be separated anyway. And that gave me a bit of anxiety as well. But it's out of my comfort zone, which is good, something I have to do. So we were there. He went through what we're going to learn over the next 2 days, which was great. And with his workshops, you actually do work. So you do a number of exercises, which I find really great that you're able to practice with. And this is some of the things that we also did a little good meditation as well with every morning. I don't do meditation. I'm not someone that can just sit there and turn my mind off. So for me, meditation, I do what the person is saying, but then when it goes silent, I'm sort of thinking and my eyes are sort of squinting open to see, what's going on because I get bored. But when we had to start to go and pair up, this is something that I have to work on myself, and that is to just go and approach people because I get like this anxiety or I'm an Aquarian. So Aquarians, they are social people, but they have like this awkwardness about them. So I have this like social awkwardness about myself where I just get very awkward in sort of spaces like in that instance. And I always have this thing of letting people approach me, not me approaching them. And that's something that I need to work on because that's something that I really took back and I realized from the weekend is that I've just got to start approaching people who I want to work with because there were some great people there that I didn't get to work with because I didn't go and approach them. And because I let people approach me, and the second day I just sort of had enough of this. And I found that with the older, I'm going to say the older ladies, it's a little bit harder to work with them in terms of maybe they're not getting their evidence when you're practicing with them. I just find it a little bit hard, a little bit awkward. And one lady that I had to work with on the second day, she was making it very hard for me. Like I got my information was correct, and I think she was a bit annoyed, but it was her turn. Her information was not correct. And then when she was being a bit hard on me, when she was talking about her relatives and their life story, like I knew some of it was made up. It was a bit far fetched. Anyway, so that was like something me. I was like, okay, I've got to just, from then on, I was like trying to work with people that I want to work with, um, and to really push myself out there. And I did that. I was sort of motivated to do that, but that's something I have to work on as well. And it's also too, so there was a lot of people that went that I did think were part of the spiritualist church. And even like then, I'm just a very shy person. So some people don't think I am, but I actually really, really am. I'm actually more introverted than extroverted. For my jobs that I do, I have to be extroverted. And that in that case, I put on that mask or I put on that role and I pretend to be extroverted as much as I possibly can. But outside of that, I'm actually very introverted. So some of the exercises that we did, and they were amazing. Oh, and I did my radio show. So I actually asked before we started the first day if I could sort of leave at lunchtime, walk away a little bit early because I had my radio show to do. Couldn't get enough enough signal in my car. So that week, if you go to Facebook, you'll see my radio show. I'm sort of outside holding my computer. Very, very odd. But some of the things that we got to do is that we had to read blind. So I've done this before but it was a different way that I'd done it in other sessions. So where you close your eyes and you don't know, someone sits in front of you, it's not who the person who you thought it is, and then you just have to read. So you have to get a loved one and give out the reading. And the person will then tap you on the knee and get you to open your eyes, and then you do more of the reading. So that was quite good. At the end of the second day, we got to do this exercise where you got to bring someone through, and then when he clapped his hands, the reader, so the person that's giving out the reading will move and someone new will sit down, and then the person who was getting the reading, they're still getting the reading, and they tell them that the other person had brought through their dad, their auntie, whoever it was, and then that person had to then continue on the reading, but they couldn't say the same evidence. So if they brought something through that the person before them had brought through, they then had to say like, no, they've already picked that up. So you had to find something else. So we changed about 3 or 4 times, I think it was. That was really interesting. I really enjoyed that activity, that exercise. We also did a number of other exercises, and we also did a lot more psychic exercises. So in his last workshop, when he was in the 3 years ago that I went to, it was more mediumship than psychic, but this one was a mixture of both, which also was a good thing to do as well. So the techniques that I've learned, for me, I want to just practice more my mediumship, and one of the ladies that went down with me, we've actually decided to practice with her more regularly because I really want to get deep in my connection, get more details from spirit, and the only way I'm going to do that is if I do more practicing. And he was saying that he knew someone that just sat with the same person for 2 years and looking at getting more evidence, because the loved ones that you have so many experiences with them. Like you've got a grandparent, and if you're lucky enough to have a grandparent that's alive for say 40, I know my cousins, when my grandmother died, um, they were in their 30s, I think, when she passed. So they had 30 years with my grandmother. So that's 30 years of experience, plus of what my mum and their mum have had with her. So that has continued on. So that person, my grandmother was alive for 100 years. So there's 100 years there of stories that could possibly be told, more evidence that you could possibly tell of what you know of your grandmother and the stories that I know of her. So there's a lot of information that you can get. So that is another part that I got taken away as well. And I also think too, like some of again, that's the older ladies. One lady that I had, and it's more the older ones, I will say that they have a bit of an ego with them. One lady sat down and she connected to my friend that had passed, and her information wasn't correct. And she was said, "Well, my information is always correct." Now, you know when someone is bringing through your loved one, you know if the information is correct or not because you know your loved one. So that's another thing I can see that certain egos or certain people that come out in those group sessions as well. It's interesting to see. I just take it as it is, and I'm there for myself and my learning experience. I know my friend, she had a lady who was just had a bit of a hard time at one of the exercises. And it can be hard working with other people, but at the same time, it's also a good way to network with other like-minded people or people in the industry, to get talking, network, exchange numbers, business cards. It is a good time to do all those things as well. And so if you want to practice your mediumship, the best thing to do, I always say, is to just ask your questions or to the loved one. So there's certain things that I do, and then I question as well. Like, so he was saying about surrendering to spirit. And then my mind overthinks, if I'm surrendering to spirit, what am I surrendering to? So with that, I guess when you're doing your intentions for the next day when you're doing readings, it's all about how you're going to express that to spirit. One of the things I do also ask for the loved ones when I want to bring them through or my intentions is that I ask them to be my friend. I say, let's be friends while, with your person. So I find that helps, and I always ask them to talk to me and I invite them into the reading. But I guess I should also work on, surrendering and put my intentions of what that means in terms of surrendering to spirit is something that I can also take away and listen to as well. But if you want to start mediumship at home, the best thing to do is try and get a friend or someone you can practice with and maybe work with photos or start working with items first and see if you can bring in a loved one through that way. And then just start connecting to people's loved ones. But I always say, if I want to connect to a loved one, I always say I wish to connect to so-and-so. And I'll bring them through that way. And then just see what you get, explore it, ask the spirit questions, and just keep talking to it and asking for it, and it will build stronger and stronger. Before that, though, I suggest you talking to your guides and building up that connection first. And with that, it's the same thing, talking to them, saying good night, saying good morning, asking them what clothes you're going to wear, what should you eat that day. If I go out to dinner, I always ask my guides, like, what should I get? Can you help me lose? I would say, can you help me lose weight? Tell me what I can and can't eat. These things are, even though you're not in class doing these things, but they're all helping you build your connection to spirit. So that is one thing you can do as well. And I always take back from over all my experience or my learning. And that's something I learned from the very beginning. And that's something that's always stuck with me. And that's something that I've always asked. Also, too, I always ask for specific information. And he was saying, because he was saying that in the workshop that he knows a reader who always asks for information that's slightly out of the box. It's very different. And the reader has just grown on that. And so they do always get one thing that's slightly out of the box, but now they get more things. So it grows. So it's all about setting your intentions of what you want and how you want these readings to go and putting it out there to spirit. So that's another thing that I took away too, more so, and that more also just strengthened my connection and what I believe in what I'm doing too. So that was, and then as a whole, I'm going to say it was good. We're Facebook friends now as well. Our Facebook team. I'm very excited. I'm very excited about that. I will go to his workshop again, and because it's just experience it. And where I am now in my journey, I don't really feel like there is anyone here around that I can learn from. And when I go to classes that are here, people Sometimes people do know that I do readings, and then I get the feeling that they feel like I shouldn't be there, even though I just want to learn like them or want to strengthen my connection and what I have to say to people. So we're all on a journey. We're all about learning as well. But yeah, you get to see some of the egos, and again, it's some of the older. I don't know why, but it's some of the older ladies as well. Some people I met weren't my cup of tea. They weren't my people, and that's fine again. And we all know our tribe or our people, and sometimes we meet people and they're not going to be on the same page as us, and that's completely fine. I did find that as well. But on a whole, my takeaway experience from the whole weekend, I feel like it was a fun weekend to go to. Got to do different things, seen a new place. It was so cold. Melbourne's very, very cold. I'm hoping when he comes back next time that he's either in Queensland or Sydney. Really hoping for that. So it's a shorter trip. But I'll definitely be working more on strengthening my connection to spirit, using the tips that I've learnt there, putting them into practice, and really trying to develop my mediumship to be just as good, if not better. One thing I really want to do is get the dates. I want to be able to get dates. I want to be able to say, and he was saying as well, which is such a good thing to say, but in the names. Like I don't get names very often, but he was saying, when you do get names, wouldn't it be great if you could get like, I've got your Uncle John from your mum's side of the family. That is something I also want to be able to get to. Not only just get the actual name, but get the placement where the loved one is from. And he was saying too that, when you think about it with the whole name thing, that, if you got your mum, is your mum does you when you're, go to your mum, you don't refer to your mum as her first name, you say mum. So in spirit, why would that mum come through and say, I'm Jane? Which is something that, we don't really think about as the person giving the reading. We just want to get the name so we get that evidence that the loved one's coming through as the loved one. So as that personality, as the person sitting in front of you knows them. So that is something that's going to be, good as well. I also want to start networking with different groups other than like spiritual groups. So when I go at I'm going to do some events networking, looking at doing other events networking that aren't sort of spiritual, that are more either business minded or just different social groups as well. So putting myself out there. There's one that I saw today that I want to go to, but I'm just going to find someone to go with me. So as I said, I'm an awkward Aquarian, socially awkward, and I do want to go with someone. If I have to go by myself, I will, but that will be really out of my comfort zone. So we'll go to my guides. I'm going to do a little channel that's going to be a bit of knowledge for you guys on how to strengthen your connection to spirit. So I'm going to ask my guides to give us this information and start to channel it for you before I end this podcast. Let me see. If you really want to connect to your guides and to spirit, you just need to talk to us. We are over the other side. We are just over the veil. We are nowhere that is that far. You can all see us, but you don't really see us. You all hear us, but don't really hear us. All of us can see us if you want to. It's all about opening your vision, opening up your eyes, opening your imagination up to what is there. It is about exploring the mysteries that are underneath the world that you know, for we are only a light force away. To connect with us, simply listen to your ears, listen to what we have to say, and open your eyes to the wonder and mystic of spirit. Simply talk to us. That is all you have to do to get the sign, to get that connection. Just talk to us, invite us in. That is all you need to do. Okay. It's kind of what I've been saying. So that brings us to the end. So that's it for today's episode of Spiritual and Cosmic with Lady D. I hope sharing my experience at the Mediumship workshop has given you some insight into what's like to connect to the spirit and explore your own spirit abilities. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review or share it with anyone curious about mediumship. And remember, your intuitions is your superpower, so trust it and you'll have fun exploring your spiritual journey. See you in the next episode. Also, too, if you're practicing with someone, if they say no, go back and check. So that medium that was like, I'm always correct, she should have gone back and checked. So, and then if you get the same thing, then get the person to think about what it is. So maybe it might be a bit obscure or it could be something else. That's my other little tip as well. But always go back when you got to know, go back, ask the spirit to re-clarify what they're giving you. But anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you for my next one. So bye.